Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Speedplay Conclave number 12. We left off the Emperor of Hispania, which we're going to go ahead and rename to Swabia, as I looked it up, and that's actually the name of the Duchy of Suebies. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing our culture right at all. Anyway, though, we go ahead and declare war on two different areas, just holy wars on various islands. We're going to load up our son and heir's 10,000 troops. Apparently we got a new heir for a moment, but we managed to switch it back to him. And we'll just move on, send all those troops over. But yeah, so Swabia was a historical name for an area ruled by people of our culture. So I figure it's the most fitting thing. We could rename the empire. And we've already won the first war. We send our forces over to win the second. There's even less troops there. We managed to just rove through it and just take over pretty quickly. With that, we lower all of our military forces. We go ahead and try to find a family member to give that region to, but we can't really seem to find any. So we do just go ahead and grant it to some random person. Now, with that said and done, we kind of consider what to do next. We can't keep going into sub-Saharan Africa just yet. We do manage to get the Duchy of Barcelona, and we have quite a few options. Sadly, our hunting dog died, so we lose that one health. We could go into Rome, however that would basically lead us into holy wars forever, or we could move up into Brittany, and from Brittany start carving our way over to the British Isles, which are all kind of in chaos. We do manage to become good friends with someone, and the King of Aquitaine is now fighting heretics. So what we're going to do is probably bring our forces over, declare war right here into Brittany. That is as far as we can declare a holy war. We can't quite get to the British Isles yet. But once we manage to take over this area, we'll be able to go into the British Isles and hopefully win over there. We win a battle really quickly and easily, siege the province, and now it's ours. And since these are all mercenaries, we can just keep going, so we'll charge on over to Wessex right now, do the same thing. Hopefully siege them out pretty quickly, and sadly a lot of areas have joined against us, so we're going to go ahead and hopefully not lose that army, raise our son's forces again. It looks as though we're going to win the first battle, ship 10,000 men over, we try to escape. Sadly, 8,000 men attack us, we try to retreat, they end up going east. We will get our son's 10,000 men to land there. We now have 13,000 men all together. We will charge over, winning some battles pretty handedly. They don't have very many forces, at least not organized together. And we are winning these battles. We turn down a marriage offer. And we just attack all the provinces. That doesn't get us to 100% war score. Sadly, though, we have a new heir, our grandson, our amazing son's son. Unfortunately, he just recently died, which is terrible. He was a great heir, and his grandson is not a genius or anything. We go ahead and we'll start rolling back council authority, or at least we try to. They have to vote on it because of all the council authority. It also looks as though that battle just went very poorly, so we're going to try to retreat back to the ships. We lost 5,000 men, or we lost just several thousand men. We do go ahead and nominate our grandson. We have to nominate him as his father and now him control the largest portion of the countryside. We go ahead and raise additional armies to just charge back over and win this war once and for all. And we get a sad event. Basically just the rest of my sons are nowhere near the abilities of Duke Frontagnus. He would have been a great duke after my death. And it's true, we lost a great heir when we lost our son. And he did die in battle in England. So we may as well try to see that through to the best of our abilities. We load up those 4,000 men, we will join them with 9,000 others. And sadly, we too died of stress. We died of severe stress, probably in part due to the succession and loss of our amazing heir, which is kind of awful. We are now a 9-year-old in charge of one of the largest empires in the world. We attempt to grant titles to our heir, and unfortunately the council will vote no. And this is probably the largest sign that things are not going to go well for us, because we can't even grant duchies to members of our council. They are just blocking any sort of reform to keep the state together. So everyone has minus 100 opinion of us just because of how much territory we control. We can't even get a white piece in the Holy War. We're going to basically face a massive revolt of really everyone, since all of our vassals, all of our major vassals have minus 100 opinion of us. Things could go very poorly very swiftly. So what we're doing, as you'll see, we have all these armies risen. We're trying to pass titles off, but we just can't. We're going to at least get this war to a white peace as quickly as possible, with as many troops remaining as possible. That's the main, most important thing we can do right now. If we end the war, we can focus 100% on domestic issues. We send these 13,000 men deep into Wales, siege a province, drop more troops. Now we have 20,000 men. We'll hopefully just overwhelm that group. We do manage to defeat them just handedly. We search for people not of our religion, because I realize we could still become a heretic if we want. And if we're able to pull that off, that would be pretty great. We would have religious religious revoking. We win that battle, but lose about 8,000 men, which is kind of defeating the purpose of keeping most of our army alive. Doesn't matter though, we get a white peace. We do attempt to become a heretic by getting someone heretical to raise us. That just happened a little earlier. We managed to actually pass over 2 counties to our heir. However, now they won't grant any more titles to anyone, which kind of just puts us back in the position we were in before. We are at peace though, so we can start saving our money up. And we try to just replace our counselors with people who don't hate us. Sadly, before we can even see if that would work, we are threatened with our overthrow. We decline. We will not give in. We raise all the mercenaries we possibly can, merge all of our forces as close together as we can, and it's going to be a very uphill battle. They had several hundred times our strength. We will fight them, and we will try to win despite all, well, just everything. So we managed to win at least a couple battles. We join one of our forces together. We've got 6,400 men who are attacked by 8,000. There are more mercenaries inbound, getting us up to 8,000 as well. We search around for more troops. We are winning the southern battle. We lost out loud in the north, losing most of our army. They won't accept white peace. They would probably accept our surrender. On the bright side, they are all in our family, so worst case, if we do give in, it will be a family member who seizes control. We might win this side battle, however, just with the combined forces we're facing, we're going to just surrender. Our forces will all die. A foreign nation has declared war to get a claimant on the throne who is not in our family. And we give all of that up. We are now just the King of Leon. However, we, being our father's son, still control the massive internal portion of the state that was Leon. So we're not in that awful of a position, and once we become an adult, if we are able to survive that far in anything resembling power, we do have a significant power base, a larger power base than we had before we took the emperorship in the first place. We fire all of these counselors because they're not lending themselves to us surviving. See, we can't pass any land reform, really. We can't give any of our titles to any of our vassals. We can't spread power and make allies with these vassals, so everyone hates us, which is just terrible news. We have 28 out of the allowed 13 vassals, and there's really nothing we can do. We really have no choice. They have a much larger force than we do, so we have to give up the Kingdom of Leon. We are now just really every single duchy within the kingdom, though. We do now finally have a council that's willing to give us some territories, or give some territories to our heir of choice. So we do go ahead and start transferring over control of territories just to get us back closer within our domain limit. Things are obviously going very poorly for us now. There's a plot to increase council power with 177% of our force. We give in, and there's still 5 years left before we can become an adult, which is become an adult. Well, yeah, we're still a child for a while. We go ahead and get intrigue focus, as we're going to need to plot our way up to the top. We had to go into hiding because people are trying to kill us, and our heir is even younger than we are, which would be a disaster. We try to nominate our own siblings into various positions to get them elected. It doesn't seem to work. And at this point, we're just going to speed through the next little while, as it's really... there's not much we can do. Our council has very, very severely limited our abilities. Luckily, the Umayyads only have 4 vassals, 2 of which are barons, 1 of which is our brother, or not our brother, but one of our siblings. And yeah, with that all said and done, we have lost quite a lot of our power, quite a lot of our influence. We're just roving around with 3 groups of retinue horsemen, so we'll just speed through this bit as we just chase down Viking raiders, and don't really actually fight very many of them. The Shia rise up. This is the second Shia rising that I took note of, and it's also ruled by a child, which the last one was too, so I'm not sure if that's actually part of just Shia risings. We go ahead and spread our retinue so they're in 3 equal groups instead of 2. Another plot to increase the power of our council. So title grant committee, which is exactly what we've been dealing with all this time. I would love not to give in to that, however they have 240% of our power, so we are going to give in to that. And really just further limit and kind of destroy our own power base. It's terribly sad, I wish we could avoid it. We go ahead and switch to a better teacher with an actual teaching skill, so hopefully, there we go, it paid off. We're level 3 intrigue, as opposed to just anything worse. We try to get everyone more or less on our side, send gifts, and try to give titles to our heir, just to get us closer to our domain limit, as that is a pretty real issue that we're going to be facing. So, unfortunately, at this point they won't allow us, but we only have 1 over our domain limit, and that doesn't matter all that much. So with that said and done, yeah, we are actually in a fairly decent position compared to where we were as a child. We do go ahead and focus stewardship. It doesn't increase our domain limit any. We could join a faction to overthrow the king, the Umayyad king of Leon. However, we have a truce with them, so we can't do anything about that for quite a while. Hence, we can't declare installation of our claimant until 922. So we've got 6 years to just bide our time and hopefully maintain our realm, get our position up, and quickly give ourselves a haircut so we don't look so awful. Here you'll see that we are the first non-Salvatore ruler in our dynasty for quite some time, and the endgame screen has taken on a very different look, as we now have to take care of the fact that there's 2 levels of lieges above us: the Emperor, his vassals, our liege, their vassals, us, and all of our vassals. So, next time, we'll see if we can't turn this around and build back up what was lost. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.